Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and these are the top headlines from the startup world. BYJUs reports a loss of over 4,500 crore rupees for FY21. This is 19 times higher than the 262 crore loss posted in FY20. BYJUs also reports 3% drop in revenue. BYJU Ravindran tells Money Control that 40% of revenue has been deferred to subsequent years due to change in accounting practices. Aviros, a deep tech startup, backed $7 million in a Series A funding round led by Inflexor and Xfinity Venture Partners. Also saw participation from Veda VC, family offices and others. Will use the capital for product enhancement, building its developer community and growth in the Indian and overseas markets. B2B wealth tech startup Centricity raises $4 million in pre-seed funding round led by the Berman family office and others. This at a valuation of $20 million. The startup aims to onboard 1,000 to 1,500 independent financial advisors in the next 24 months with a combined transaction value of at least $1 billion. Department of Revenue Intelligence seeks to recover 330 crore rupees from Hero Electric for allegedly evading customs duty. It's the latest whammy for the company after subsidy floors under the FAME and PLI scheme were suspended earlier this month. Global tech investor SoftBank considers the launch of a new giant startup investment fund. This is part of its plan to turn a new leaf after the poor performance of its previous two funds. Less than 20 hours to go before crypto network Ethereum institutes its biggest software update to date. Major cryptocurrencies and tokens like Bitcoin take a beating ahead of the merge, which is seen as a potential threat to minor business models and the ESG rankings of investors. A court at the European Union upholds the antitrust penalty imposed on Google over the Android operating system. The court trims the penalty from $4.3 billion to $4.1 billion. Well, those were the headlines that we're tracking for you today, but the big headline of the day, BYJUs has come out with its numbers for FY21 after a year-long wait, and here's how it stacks up. In a conversation with Money Control, BYJU Ravindran said that the EdTech unicorn's revenues came in at over 2,400 crore rupees, which was a 3% fall when compared to the previous year. However, the company saw a loss of over 4,500 crore rupees, which is a surge of nearly 19 times when compared to a loss of 262 crore rupees in the previous year. Meanwhile, BYJUs told Money Control that due to a change in accounting practices, a significant increase in business was not reflected in the revenue figure, and nearly 40% of the revenue was deferred to subsequent years. BYJUs Ravindran said, and I quote, "During COVID, we gave streaming access to a lot of our users because of shipment delays, and that had to be changed. The revenue had to be recognized across the period of consumption." He added that secondly, on account of credit sales, EMI sales, recognition was based on significant collection of that, and revenue was recognized after completion of the collection. These were the two additional changes that had to be made, end of quote. Remember, BYJU's financial results drew a lot of attention as it was delayed at least 4 times, the reason for which Ravindran said was due to 3 factors. First, on account of the fact that the company was unable to travel due to COVID, delaying the audit of some of the companies it acquired. He also stated that the complexity of the acquisitions, as well as a change in revenue recognition that Deloitte requested, caused the delay in filing the results. In the interview with Money Control, BYJU Ravindran said that if this can't break us, nothing will, end of quote. Now, these were the FY21 numbers. So when will the FY22 numbers come out? Well, the company is not in a hurry. Ravindran told Money Control, and I quote, "We have not decided that yet. Investors and lenders don't care. And speaking objectively, not a single investor has sold their shares in the last 6 months, while some of them are sitting on 50 times or 100 times return." End of quote. Moving on, supply chain startup Procol has raised 51 crore rupees from GMO Venture Partners, Alaco Ventures, ESAS Ventures, Founder Bank Capital and Anchorage Capital. The company also saw participation from the likes of Bloom Ventures, BNext and Sequoia Surge. Now, the company will use the new capital to build and enhance solutions to solve India's procurement problems through Procol's procurement software and B2B marketplace. Joining us now to discuss the company's fund allocation plans and its growth blueprint is Gaurav Baheti, the co-founder of Procol. Gaurav, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. You've raised 51 crore rupees. Before we get into the fundraise, take me through what you have on offer. How is your tech helping companies cut procurement costs by up to 10%?
Thanks, Arundhati, for having me. As you know, procurement is a matter of discussion in every boardroom today. The procurement costs in the past 2 years have been rising significantly, and executives are figuring out all strategies to control these costs. Procol solution is well positioned to provide deep transparency in their supply chain, traceability of goods, and most importantly, collaboration with their suppliers on a single platform. That's basically how Procol enables companies to reduce cost and fasten their sourcing process.
And we'll talk about the products more in detail as well. But what do you plan to do with these funds that you've raised? What will you be investing it in?
Right. So largely, India's lakhs of goods worth of procurement happens on phones and emails and Excel sheets. Procol has built solution to digitize business procurement, and we're investing in building products that help end customers get their supply chains and procurement online. And that's what we're allocating funds going forward for.
All right. Now, procurement teams buy goods and services worth lakhs of crores in India, but it all runs manually on phone calls and emails mostly. Now, Procol Solutions streamline procurement processes with sourcing and purchasing workflows, as you explained. So what's the traction that you've seen for your product? Are there any new solutions in the pipeline?
Absolutely. So typically we look at from purchase requisition to purchase order. It's most commonly said that the cost of buying a pen in a large company is more than the pen itself. With Procol, obviously, it goes lower, and it reduces your time to buy and speed and cost of buying. We have more solutions in pipeline, which enables our customers to discover more suppliers through our platform, get access to more customers through our platform, and get access to capital as well. Procol is well positioned to layer different B2B marketplace services on top of our software, which is what is coming next.
All right. And how soon will we see these new products available on the platform?
We are already, we have launched the pilot for all of these solutions currently. Hopefully by early next year, you will see a bit more traction on these.
All right. So early next year is when we can see these new products. Now, take us through the kind of revenues you've seen. Talk to us about the numbers. Where do you hope to close this year? And have you set any targets for yourself?
The target is just to 10x from here. And that happens every year. We have already grown about 10x in the last about 15 months. And I think we will be another 5 to 8x in the next 12 months. So overall, the vision is to just continue compounding. We are a humble team. We grew from 30 people to 100 people in just last 7 months. And we are hoping to be 200 in the next 10 months. So the speed of growth is just getting better as more talented people are continuing to join Procol. And I hope everyone is on the same mission of helping India grow faster.
Right. So 10x growth is what you're targeting. You've gone from managing about 70 crores to 7,000 crore rupees of procurement in 2 years. Now, the pandemic obviously gave the industry the boost it needed. So what are the kind of clients you're currently working with, and what's the plan to grow this further?
So we work with few of the industry's largest and the more marquee logos. We work with Dalmia Bharat, Imami, Agrotech. We work with Havells, Tata's Big Basket. And we continue to work with different types of manufacturing sectors. Now we have very recently opened pharma. We're starting to work with few international customers. Hopefully you will hear more about us from our customers than ourselves.
Right. Now, the procurement market in India is about $500 billion. What's the potential? Who are you in competition with, and what makes your platform different?
I think we're in competition with manual procurement because 99% of procurement is still offline. What makes it different is, typically, if you look at Indian buyers and suppliers, they work very differently than Western counterparts and Western countries. In India, mobile phones is the most easy transacting tool for most of our buyers and suppliers. So Procol has just replicated these tools on a simple application, which enables buyers and suppliers to transact on mobile phones, which is what differentiates us to its core. And second of all, we are much more affordable, bringing the cost down for any other counterpart that exists out there. So with these two things, it makes for a no-brainer for most enterprises to adopt Procol.
Right, so it only makes sense for all of them to adopt Procol. But on that note, thank you so much for joining us on the show, Gaurav. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much, Anand, for having me.
Moving on, the sentiment among consumers and sellers is very positive, and that's the word coming in from Amazon India's Vice President and Country Manager for the India Consumer Business, Manish Tiwari. Speaking to my colleague Shilpa Ranipeta, Tiwari said that he expects this Diwali to turn out bigger than last year, and also discussed Amazon's big plans and offers for the upcoming festive season. He added that Amazon will continue to remain invested and innovate in India, and here's a slice of that conversation.
This is the first normal year in the last 3 years. The good thing for, even during the pandemic, a lot of consumers were shopping online. So 2020, 2021 were also good Diwalis. But I think what makes it special is most of our sellers sell offline and online. The sentiment among sellers is very positive. The consumer sentiment is also very positive. We believe this Diwali will be better than last year.
You already had about 2 sales already that went by for around Independence Day, then your Great Indian Festival. So what is the kind of response that you got in those 2 sales, and what does that tell you about this festive season? Can you give me any rough figures or trends that you saw in those sales?
So we don't get into numbers in terms of, but like I said, what is most important for me is getting those 11 lakh sellers successful. The number of sellers who become Crore-patis, the number of new sellers who enroll. And then, of course, our ability to delight the customers. So I'll share some data points which I think are important. So vis-a-vis last Diwali, this year, we're going to have close to 2,000 new launches. That's roughly 2 times last year. Consumers now look forward to launches. You spoke about Prime Day. Prime Day and Diwali have now almost gone into the launch calendar of most brands. The second is, this year we have a customer engagement program called Diamonds. So customers who come to Amazon.in, make payments, watch mini TV, play games, they would earn diamonds and they can use it for redemption. The sellers will be giving redemption offers on those diamonds. The third is, not only can you shop in your regional languages, 7 of them, you can also shop using voice. And we're going to have close to 150 influencers who will put up close to 600 live shows. So you can actually shop from those live events. So these are some of the things which I believe would excite the customers.
Inflation is being seen as a concern. In fact, the Retailers Association of India also said that in the lower end, in the mass price segments, we're seeing that people are cutting back on shopping. Do you see that that will have any sort of an impact? Did you see that having an impact in the last 2 sales that you had?
No, we haven't experienced that. I think what has happened during the pandemic, close to 80-85% of our customers come from smaller towns now. And if you look at the range of products we sell from maybe 5 rupees upwards to things which cost you lakhs of rupees. So as a marketplace, our sellers bring the entire range of products. So it's not like we are a low ASP marketplace or a high ASP. We sell everything. Yeah. And I think that is what makes it attractive for our customers. You could buy a shirt starting 100 rupees and it could go up till 10,000. That's the kind of range our sellers have. So we haven't seen this slowdown. Of course, prices of some few products have gone up. But I think what the sellers and the bank partners more than make up for is by having the affordability tools, no cost EMI, BNPL. I think that makes it easier for our consumers to buy.
This festive season, will you be scaling up any of your new offerings, like food delivery, for instance, that's currently only, I think, in Bangalore, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you looking at scaling that up also to other cities in the near future?
See, our philosophy always is we do a lot of experiments in a lot of places. Food delivery is something which we are quite happy with the kind of response we are seeing in Bangalore. But this year, we wouldn't be scaling it up for Diwali. I think our focus goes back to something which is a little boring, but which is what customers care about. It's about the selection, the pricing offered by sellers, and the speed and the convenience. So I spoke about the convenience of using Amazon Pay, the co-branded credit card, and we will delight customers with the speed of delivery. So if you are staying in Bombay, you should get your packet, if not the same day, definitely within 2 days.
Right. And before I let you go, wanted to understand about the larger Amazon India business also. There's a recent report by Bernstein which said probably Amazon is not seeing the kind of success that it would have basis the investments that it has made in India, plus its path to profitability as against competition. What do you have to say about that? And any clarity or anything that you can tell me on the path of profitability for the India business for Amazon?
I haven't seen this report, but I can share with you all of us are very excited with the journey we've had over the last 9 years as a shopping marketplace. It shows up in report after report, survey after survey, the kind of trust which customers have given on Amazon.in. The fact that we have so many millions of Prime members, 11 lakh plus sellers, 100 crore plus products, I think just goes to show that it's working well, and we continue to be invested in this story.
Correct. And sorry, one last question about the path to profitability also, if you could give me some clarity on that, and what do you see as the next big growth driver for Amazon in India?
I think we are happy with the current growth trajectory we have of the business overall. I think in terms of what do we see as the next, like I said, e-commerce is still a very small part of the retail marketplace. There is lots to be done, be it on the seller front, the customer front, and we are invested in continuing to innovate at those fronts.
On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, the much-awaited Open Network for Digital Commerce, or ONDC, is set to go live soon. A special conversation on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. The much-awaited Open Network for Digital Commerce, or ONDC, is set to go live soon. Beta testing will begin at the end of September. In a conversation with my colleague Shilpa Ranipeta, Thampi Koshi, the CEO of ONDC, says that the beta testing is more likely to be held in Bangalore and that over 350 entities have already integrated with ONDC. Take a look.
What we have been doing is to let the network grow in an organic fashion. As you would have realized, this is not a super platform or a super app or a super central infrastructure. It is a way of enabling multiple platforms and applications to talk to each other. So the ball lies in the court of other people. So we want to make sure that these people gradually come and the network grows. So first to give a demonstration effect, we had 5 seller platforms and 1 buyer platforms and 1 logistics platform coming together, bringing their merchants in 5 cities, and they started increasing the number of merchants in multiple cities. As of today, it's about 60 cities. I have 1 or 2 merchants each, totally about 250, 300 merchants. And it's growing every day. And they are doing their regular transaction in an alpha testing way with their buyers. So they are all real transactions. It's not theoretical lab transaction. And we are proceeding that. And we are also planning to, that is going broad, and the second strategy is going deep. In some of the cities, we are going to go lots of these merchants to come. So our plan is that maybe we will do a beta testing by end of the month by selecting 1 city where we will make it available to a larger cross-section of the population so that it's not just friends and relatives, for everybody. So that's what we intend to do by end of this month. And then gradually let this expand. So when you see more and more seller platforms coming. If I just give you some example, let's say when CSC, Citizen Service Center, come, in a few months' time, they will have sellers from every village in the country who can participate. When somebody like Snapdeal comes, they may come with their sellers in 2,500 cities. And to begin with, it was grocery only, which is hyper-local. But tomorrow when fashion will come, electronics will come. So it doesn't matter where the seller is. So to enable all of them, we also need the logistics.
Correct.
As of today, we have 2 of them live. Dunzo and Loadshare. Another 3-4 of them in very advanced stage of completion, like Shiprocket, Grab, eCart, and so on and so forth. So you'll see, and including even Indian Postal System is also in the stage of integration.
And on the buyer side also, I wanted to understand, are there any new companies that are also coming on board? Any large conglomerates, FMCG companies also showing interest or in pilot testing phase?
So let's look at the buyer side. Buyer side, we started with 1 buyer platform. That was Paytm. So that we are expecting at least about 10-12 of them are under different stages, including telcos, fintechs, banks. In fact, we expect a couple of banks like Kotak and IDFC, etc., coming on the buyer side. You might have seen the newspaper announcement that Yes Bank already said that they are on the seller side. They're going to go live. And then we expect somebody like PhonePe to come. So a number of them. See, practically, I'm just giving from my memory. As of now, about 350 entities which includes buyer platforms and seller platforms and logistics and warehouse and so on and so forth, integrating them. It includes big companies. You might have seen in the newspaper, Microsoft kind of technology service provider, somebody like Unilever, who is a large FMCG company. They're all under various stages.
I want to also understand now, a lot of reports, and you also said in the past that the idea is to remove the duopoly that's there in the e-commerce industry by Amazon and Flipkart. Any word on Amazon and Flipkart also looking to or wanting to come onto this platform?
See, they are the established players. They are doing, it's like saying in the hotel industry, you have the 5-star hotels, 3-star hotel, 2-star hotel. So they are the 5-star service providers. Eventually, when this whole market become, in my belief, it will become inevitable for them to. But they are probably, since they are already established and a large conglomerate, they may have their own time and their own approach. They have not said no. They have also not integrated with me. I think it's a question of when, it's not a question of whether.
Right. And also, given the fact that you expect, or rather there will be so many consumers coming onto the platform, there's a lot of buying transactions happening. How do you ensure data privacy on a platform like this? Because say a Paytm, right, has access to so many seller information, so much of the buyer information, for instance. Correct me if I'm wrong. If that happens,
there could be
they're able to capture so much.
Okay, let's look at two parts. One is, in the current platform model, all information gets centered into one place. And they have the advantage and they have the control. The buyer platform will have their buyer's information, the seller platform will have their seller's information. And there again, they are expected to use. In our country, as you know, that data privacy and protection rules are coming. Their expectation of what they can do with the data is going to be controlled by that. Correct. But the beauty is here, nobody has got to aggregate power of the data to take undue advantage. The buyers only to serve their buyers, the buying platform, and the sellers to service their sellers, and to understand what is the preference of the sellers will only have that data. Okay. So that way it is more distributed, not concentrated.
And right now, online grocery and a couple of services that you're testing, I want to understand what other services are you piloting or testing currently on ONDC?
So we just started with grocery and food, and we are just adding home, food decor, etc. Then all the standard electronics, fashion, consumer goods, mobility. In fact, there's a small pilot that is happening in mobility in Kerala already. And then hotels, hospitality. Wherever there is a buyer and seller who can make their catalog visible to each other will be able to be here.
Right.
Because that's all. We are only creating an open marketplace.
Correct.
Imagine like a huge digital mall. There will be people selling shoes, there will be people selling all products.
Correct.
That's the way it will be.
Last question. You said one beta testing to the public will be open this month. Which city is that going to be?
This month, and most probably we are thinking about Bangalore.
Okay.
We have not taken the final call. And essentially, the beta testing is to make it available to a larger cross-section of people in, let's say, in the urban town. Tell them, please test it out. Because anything, when you build something of this population scale, we need to continuously monitor how it's happening, understand the challenges, and refine it.
And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.